seriously very funny movie. I really
Thanks.
enjoyed it. I think it's, you know, just when you think you've seen one mockumentary too many, this comes along, and it's just very fresh. And it's
That's
just,
what I thought when we were making it. It's like, oh,
We've done two.
this
This
is the one too many.
Because, yeah, and I understand, obviously you must have watched tons of vampire movies to prepare for this. Was there any one in particular that you really wanted to, like, spoof or satirize more than the others?
I think we talked a lot about the Lost Boys. not
Lost Boys and
necessarily-
Dracula, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
Not that we wanted to spoof it, more that we wanted to try and do our version of it.
Ah, hence the worms.
We did
The
do
worms.
like we did write a sequence after Nick gets bitten, where we would sort of like the Kiefer Sutherland's gang taking, like, showing him the ropes and like hanging
That's
off
right,
buildings
yeah,
and
I forgot.
stuff, and like as he's slowly changing over a couple of
We
weeks.
did, but we
And,
couldn't afford that.
Yeah,
Mm. I hate
it was
creatures.
us just like turning up and like making and like freaking him out all the time.
Right. And then, the interesting is, unlike other mockumentaries, there are scenes here dealing with you guys being on wires and going up in the air here and there. Was it
Was
challenging
that
doing?
obvious?
Yeah, it was challenging. Well, not from a standpoint.
You just know how it's done.
Yeah, I'm just guessing. I don't know how those work, but yeah. Was it challenging doing like scenes with that or improvisation? Because I imagine there was a lot of improvisation in this.
Yeah.
I think sometimes, you know, there's a scene where the two characters, Nick and Deacon, are having a fight. They run up the wall, and they're fighting on the ceiling, and we try to get them to improvise, you know, like back and forth while they're fighting. But they're doing that while they're in this tumbling room, so they have to always make sure they're standing on the floor or they'll trip over and
Right.
just roll around. I think things like that were actually quite hard.
Yeah. Kind of like Inception all over again,
Mm.
almost. Yeah.
But they weren't improvising. That was scripted.
Oh,
I
that was.
believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I just read
I
in
mean,
the-
Inception.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was reading in the script. I was reading in the notes that you two had written a script, but that you didn't show it to the actors. Is
Mhm.
that correct? And
Why? Why would we bother? Because we wanted it to seem natural. But if that wasn't going well, or we were running out of time, then we could just use the scenes that we've written.
Oh, okay.
But we stuck to the improv mostly, unless the scene was quite complicated. So sometimes there are scenes with, you know, 15 characters or something like that. Then we had to give them a bit more guidance. We might show them a script for a minute and then take it off them again.
Right. Okay.
That's a thing that I don't know, when we were working on Concords, which Taika directed some of.
Great shows.
Thanks. And but James, Brett, and I would always make sure that the actors that would come in didn't memorize their scripts. You know, they would know what the scene was about, but didn't memorize it because we wanted a little bit of, you know, personality in it.
Yeah. Yeah, that definitely shows throughout the film. And in the process of doing this mockumentary, I mean, this is actually based loosely on a short film you made in 2005, right?
That's not quite true.
Not quite true?
We had an idea for a feature.
It's too kind to call that a short film.
Well, for
It was
start,
just
yeah.
a test.
There's
Just to
yeah.
test the characters. It was never meant for release or anything.
We didn't mean people to see it, but now they can see it as a DVD extra, and the countries where it's come out on DVD. But that was an experiment to see if the idea would work. But it did inform a lot of what we put in the script.
Right, because I was curious, how did it evolve from that piece you did all the way up towards the feature film? I mean, how did it evolve, from creatively speaking?
Things that we threw into the short film, like we had a friend who works in IT, and he was helping us out with the film. We asked him to be in some scenes as a human, hanging out with some vampires, and he stood out in that short, and so we wrote quite a big part for him in the film, and he wasn't. We didn't tell him that he had a big part. He said we help out on this film, and he's helped out on all Taika's films that he's made. He was a runner. What's a runner called here?
PA.
PA. He was a PA. And then the next one, what did he do? He was like in the office. worked in the office.
Office work.
You call it an office. And
I don't know.
here we are.
Production. He's in production. Yeah.
Here we asked him to do our IT stuff, set up our computer network. And
Nerd.
that's what you call a nerd.
Nerd. Production nerd.
That is what in Weta they do call them the nerds, the computer guys.
It's sign of respect there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a badge of
It
honor.
means they're rich.
Yes.
But yeah, we asked them to come and do our computer stuff and maybe be in a few scenes. But we always knew that he was going to be in. Once he turned up, he's in almost every scene.
Mm-hmm. And there's been so many mockumentaries over the years. Probably one of the most famous being This Is Spinal Tap. In putting this together, was there any sort of like particular pitfalls or cliches this genre is known for that you wanted to avoid?
We try to avoid cliches by making it about a different kind of world, of something that you couldn't actually film.
I think stylistically as well, it's we didn't achieve it, but I think originally I would have liked if there was a bit more observational, a bit like Grey Gardens or something, and just watching. And because I'm glad we didn't have a voiceover like in a reality show, which was one danger that there's like the kind of the voice sort of end of the mockumentary spectrum. It's the vampires now have to go out and feed. It's like just explaining everything, and it's kind of cheesy.
It sounds good.
But the
It's kind of good when you
like,
did it then.
Yeah.
it's like I think reality show is something I really wanted to avoid, but there's a lot of bits in the
But it
movie
slipped
where it
in
feels
there.
like it.
Yeah. There's also History Channel. Was a reference that we put in there. The way you have the archival material of
Right.
medieval woodcuts and early photographs and prints and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that. I don't know if we were avoiding anything except for trying to do it about something else. Mockumentaries are quite good for subtlety,
Mhm.
like subtle performance. People, they're kind of more realistic, and if you find that funny, I think that's funny.
Yeah, exactly. Because the great thing is that, take away the vampire aspect for a second. These guys are just like, these guys are just a bunch of guys who are, sharing an apartment, trying to, make ends meet and trying to, keep everything on the same level, I definitely relate to that without, the blood-sucking part of it in my own life.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so that's, I liked it because that's what really kept the characters grounded in a sense. As extreme as they are, as vampirish as they are, they're not too far removed from reality.
Mm.
Was that what you were hoping to accomplish with the characters to a certain extent?
Yeah, we did want them to seem more real than other vampire characters. Well, the way we think about it is, when you see, a character like Dracula, you see him when he's in his most threatening and dynamic moments, but the camera doesn't follow him for the rest of the time. This is if you follow him all the time and see him fail sometimes.
Yeah.
But there's 4 of them.
Yeah. The Nosferatu vampire is hilarious. That's a great addition. Obviously, we all know which one that came from. That Shrek, right?
Yeah.
And
But also, there's the vampire in Salem's Lot. He's also, but that's just copyright.
the original Salem's Lot, or
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen the remake, so I don't know if you have. But yeah, and also the sandwich line in the movie is brilliant. Where I think where a certain thing gets compared to a sandwich. I think at one point, involving sex or something like that. How did you come up with that line? That line was brilliant.
We were talking a lot about in improvs and in the script how we were looking for virgins, and we just had to explain why, and we had to think of why is that important, the sexual history of your victim.
And that was a question. That's been a question since the thing we did in 2005 too. Why virgins?
Because we talk about it because it's funny to talk about such an old-fashioned thing to
So why do you have to sacrifice virgins as well?
Yeah. Go
No,
figure.
no one asked that.
And then it made sense.
Yeah.
The only people who ask that are the virgins being sacrificed.
Why does it have to be?
Why does it have to be a virgin?
That's the thing of a lot of horror movies. It's always about the virgin. I saw this other movie recently where it's called Innocence, and a girl ends up having sex, and that actually saves her life.
Okay.
When it comes
they flipped around.
Yeah, because she was like dealing with a coven of witches, and they wanted her. They wanted,
a
a
virgin sacrifice.
Exactly, one
yeah,
virgin sacrifice, and they realized you've been plucked. Ah! How could you do that? So that was funny.
So good. Well,
So-
that's what. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some horror movies, the virgins are at risk, and sometimes there's a virginity. You know, it can go either way. You never know. You
That's
save yourself.
Yeah.
Or with vampires, you want to have sex and make yourself less appealing.
Right.
As a human, you do too.
Yeah.
I do.
And
I hope that works out.
I mean, you also have another actress in the film who's playing someone who desperately wants to be a vampire. It's kind of like she desperately wants to get out of her regular suburban life. And it's like a lot of people who want to just get out of the normal middle of their lives, like the day jobs or stuff like that. That was cool. The actress was wonderful in that role too.
Yeah.
And I mean, was that informed by? I mean, were these characters at any point like informed by just like real people, you know, not just vampire?
It's kind of like, well, Renfield, the Dracula's familiar that he has in some Dracula movies, as well as Endor, I think, and as well as
I've seen some. I know some people in some kind of convenient marriages, and I think that sometimes
they want to be a vampire, something more glamorous.
Sometimes they want something else other than the mundane that they have in their marriages. Not Jackie though; she's completely acting. She's very happy.
She's very happy. Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's good. I also got to ask: are we ever going to see like Flight of the Conchords again? We keep hearing they might come back or not. It's always up in the air.
No pun intended.
Mhm.
Or pun intended. Was that pun intended?
Oh,
Oh,
no pun. No, that was
Oh.
definitely no pun intended.
Okay.
I didn't realize it was.
I like to know whether puns are intentional. We are planning to tour the States this year,
Great.
later on in the year.
Mhm.
That's,
So you don't know which city you're going to be starting in first? Yeah.
we don't know where we're starting. I can't remember. There is a list that people send us of cities, and but so we have to move stuff around sometimes for other jobs. But it would be great to come back and do a tour.
Right.
We
Yep.
should practice our guitar.
Yeah. And just one last question, and obviously this was done on a very low budget. You had,
Obviously.
well,
The
just
interview.
all these movies, yeah. Well, the interview is even on a lower
This-
budget, so yeah.
Well, this is probably also
Yeah, all the money went into that photo right there. Yeah. That's
Paying
it.
off. It's paying for itself.
Yeah, it's paying for itself, thank God.
Yes,
Are
it's
you
quite low
annoyed? Were you annoyed when you had to go into that start that new page?
A little bit. Yeah, I was like,
I hate that.
I
You
want
get right to the end and you're like,
yeah.
You'll get it.
But yeah, with the budget that you had for this movie and the time you had to shoot it, what were the biggest challenges you faced throughout filming?
Try to cram everything into the time that we had.
Yeah, so we wrote a long script. We didn't. We had two versions of the script. A short version that we showed the crew, and our version that we knew we were going to try and get everything in the long version. Sometimes it would only end up being a little bit in a montage sequence or something like that. But we were trying to slip in those scenes all the time that we wanted in, that we knew we could probably survive without, still have a movie, but yeah, I was trying to get those in. Like, there's an ambulance scene when a character is injured. Then we weren't going to shoot that scene even though we really wanted it. But that day we asked our producer if we could do it, and she called up the ambulance, the St. John's ambulance, said, and then got back to us, said if there are no accidents tonight, then we'll got an ambulance and 2 drivers will be in the scene. Yes, and then we just filmed it that night.
That's good.
Yeah, sometimes stuff like that.
Yeah, it's great when you get lucky with stuff like that. Yeah, because that doesn't always happen.
No.
But yeah, no, seriously, terrific movie, guys. This was really a lot of fun.
Oh,
Thank you.
Congratulations for all the
Thank you.
success
Thanks
you've
for
had
having
with
us.
this. So thank you.